Hi, hello followers, friends, family, everybody out there on Facebook. I'm compelled to have I suppose, a one-way conversation with you all, and I want to call out Prime Minister Anthony Albanese for several reasons. Firstly, I'm quite disgusted in the Prime Minister's recent visit for his photo opportunity with members of my grieving family. From my understanding, it was suggested to you, Prime Minister, last week not to come to Alice Springs this week because family were in sorry business, and now you have said yourself in your statement and to media, sorry, I'm tired and I'm angry, to the media, that you wish to respect, the cultural significance of sorry business and, to leave the family in peace. And from my understanding, you were asked not to come this week, but then that changed evidently because you were in Alice Springs, and I don't know what happened there, but it just disgusts me that suddenly, you drag grieving people out of sorry business, because sorry business, the town camp in which the sorry business was taking place, was on the other side of town. And you drag them back to the town camp where my niece disappeared, for a photo opportunity to pretend like you care, standing there, acting like you're grieving. The only time you ever come to Alice Springs is when you're forced to, and you're only ever there for 3 hours on the ground. If you'd spent a decent amount of time and spoken to people on the ground, maybe visited some more town camps. And if you actually saw the town camp where sorry business is, you'd see that there's signs up saying, no media, no photos, please, just respect the family. Because when I've been to sorry business, that's what it said. But you stood up there and pretended to care when you didn't. And I'll tell you why you didn't. Because while you stand there and take aim at the territory government, even though they're taking action immediately, you're failing to take any action whatsoever. You have failed. During the time in which I've come to Parliament, I have put forward motions to, one, hold a Royal Commission into the sexual abuse of Aboriginal children. Because while you claim to care about the disproportionate rate of Aboriginal people being incarcerated, well, one of the reasons why that happens is because when children are neglected or sexually abused or don't attend school, no matter what your race is, there is a likelihood that you will end up incarcerated either in your youth or as an adult. But you failed. You pushed against, you fought and railed against a Royal Commission into the sexual abuse of Indigenous children. And so did your minister, Mullindiri McCarthy. Shame on you, Mullindiri. You've been in that role, and the Closing the Gap targets have gone backward under you as the minister, and you come and you pretend to care, and you stand there with your platitudes and you speak nice words but empty words, and you deliver zero action to actually fix anything, and you're not prepared to actually listen to the ones that are shoved to the back, the ones that don't get the opportunity in front of the cameras, the quiet women, those who whisper under their breath as to what's really going on in communities. You ignore them because it's politically not good for you to actually listen to them, because you would have to do something. You'd have to get off your backside and actually do something about it. But you don't. And let's don't forget that you were also the Child Protection Minister in the Northern Territory when you were part of the Territory government once upon a time. And under your watch, the young man with the spit hood on his head, you were the Minister for Child Protection during that time. And let's not forget, Marion Scrimgeour, you were the Deputy Chief Minister of the Northern Territory. You were the Deputy Chief Minister, and yet you only know how difficult and how harsh life is for those living in the deserts in and around Central Australia, since moving to Alice Springs so you could pretend that you were a resident to actually, take the seat of Lingiari. And you said at the beginning of the term that we were both elected that you would work in a bipartisan way to try and solve these problems. Well, I've seen zero bipartisan action, and every single time I put up any kind of motion or seek to hold an inquiry into land councils, statutory authorities, Aboriginal organisations, those who receive millions of funding but have zero accountability and are not held responsible. You don't even want to know where the money goes to, the money that's failing to close the gap. You don't want to know. You're not interested, and you don't want to work in a bipartisan capacity. And I'm bloody angry because no matter what I try to do, you're not prepared to move forward or to work in a practical way forward. But you want to condemn, you want to vilify, you want to undermine me at every turn. Can I say, for the Indigenous members of the Senate last week, you didn't even acknowledge that I was the auntie of my little niece, who we've yet to bury. We haven't even buried her yet. And you're still playing politics. You didn't even have the audacity to acknowledge me. Prime Minister, you haven't even had the audacity to acknowledge that this is my family, that I am an aunt. You've not done that once. You've not reached out and offered your condolence to me. And you know what? In anyone's culture, that is damn right rude. But you're happy to come to my hometown when it suits you, to have a photo opportunity and to pretend like you care and to say, we've got to do better. Mate, I've been telling you what you need to do for the last 4 or 5 years, and you are ignoring it. So don't come to Alice Springs and pretend like you care when you don't, when it's just an insignificance for you to actually be there in the first place. So that's my first gripe. My second gripe, and I'll keep fighting, by the way. I'll keep fighting. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep pushing for an inquiry. This money, the money trail, it needs to happen. Prime Minister, you didn't even attend a vigil. Mind you, I suppose if you were at the vigil in Alice Springs, you would have got up and you would have made it all about you, much like the Aboriginal organisations made it about them. They made it a downright shameful self-promotion. That's what it was about. Only because you know that there are those of us asking why, given that you've had all this money come to you, why you haven't done anything to fix the situation in town camps. But we're still coming. And I'm going to be relentless. And the Australian people demand it. The quiet Aboriginal Australians who get shoved to the side and trodden on, they want it. The ones that have come to your office and spoken to you, Mulundiri, about these issues, but you continue to ignore. They want it. And I'm going to continue to push for it because it's our responsibility, and certainly your responsibility, Prime Minister. You have the ultimate power in this country. You have the power, and you're not wielding it for good. No, in fact, we saw after your budget speech last week, you're wielding it for bad. You're tearing this country absolutely apart. And now you want a distraction from that. So in order to distract from your terrible budget that is destroying this country, where you're not offering any opportunities, but you're taxing the absolute daylight out of everything and anybody in this country and ruining the futures of the next generations of young people and aspiration and investment and just destroying the joint. You want a distraction from that. So you went to Alice Springs. That's why you went to Alice Springs, because Australia's woken up, young people have woken up and now understand, and it's all over social media. And they're calling you out on it, which is why I'm calling you out on it. And so their latest tactic now. So I did an interview with Sam Bamford, and I believe in the opportunity that we should all be able to discuss issues and our points of view and agree to disagree with one another if we choose to. And while I don't agree with all of his positions, I certainly will fight for his right and anyone's right to have an opinion, to have respectful debate in this country, because that's the only way we get to move forward. But anyway, Labor have jumped on this, and of course they have. And what they don't realise is they're actually going to, when it comes to podcasters, when you put them in the spotlight, you're just helping their cause. So this is what they've decided. They've been, applying pressure to Angus Taylor. They're suggesting that, again, remember, I haven't even buried my niece yet. We're still in mourning, but they're calling for my resignation. Because on the podcast, at one stage, I think Sam took about 4 minutes and rolled about 3 or 4 questions into one, about 700 words, 4 minutes. And at the end of that, he said, I realise that's a lot to take in. And I said, yeah, it is a lot to take in. And part of what he was suggesting and what he was saying is something that Labor don't agree with. Fair enough. But then they tried to paint me as though that was my opinion when it wasn't. I delivered my opinion in answer to all of what was said and what was asked of me. But this is how desperate they are, certainly to shut me up and to attack Angus, to deflect from their horrid budget, to deflect from their lies, from their gaslighting, the way in which they have utter contempt for you, the Australian, the taxpayer. They don't respect you. They don't respect me. They don't, for all of their virtue signalling, the way that they stand up and, pretend to care about traditional owners and, what's culturally appropriate. It's bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit. Because they wouldn't know what respect was if it jumped up and bit them. So I'm angry and I'm calling you out, Anthony Albanese. It's not me who should be resigning. It's you as Prime Minister of this country, because you have failed. You failed my family. You failed my niece. You failed the Australian people. You failed the children of this country. You failed young people, the older generation of this country. You might as well just resign and go live in your $4 million mansion in Copacabana. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do instead of continuing to destroy this country. So this is a message to you. This is the message to the left-wing media. Those that want to come at me again, that try to vilify me, that try to call me a liar, that try to question me when I bring to light the issues of sexual abuse of Indigenous children, when I bring to light the issue of young girls being married off in arranged marriages, because that is my culture. I live it. I know it. And this idea that I cannot talk about my culture and talk about the dark elements of it in order that we should move forward from it so that the children in my family can have a bright future and aren't beholden to it, aren't trapped by it. And you call me a sellout and you call me all kinds of names and you deny that I even know these things. Well, I'm telling you now, you've not lived it, but I have. And things need to change. Things absolutely need to change. And I'm holding you responsible for this, Prime Minister. I'm holding you absolutely responsible for this. So I'm not going to stop fighting going forward. I'm not going to stop fighting because you as the Australian public deserve it. The little humans in my family need it. And I will have conversations with people that sometimes I might agree with and sometimes I won't agree with. But I will indeed fight for your right to have an opinion and to have a respectful debate in this country and to not be gaslit and to not be name-called. So this is this is what I wanted to say this evening, because it has been a tough few weeks, and I'm just really disgusted in the way that the Prime Minister and his government are treating not just you Australian people, but the way in which they've treated my family, the way that they've treated me. They don't know respect. They don't know how to govern for this country, and we're in a hell of a lot of trouble if they continue to be in power after the next federal election. So we've all got to pull together on this, every single one of us, and call this government out for what they truly are, which is an utter disgrace, So that's me, and I suppose you can expect the ABC to try to come out swinging against me once more, and left-wing media to come out swinging against me once more. It's what they like to do. They don't like to hear the truth. They don't like debate, and they certainly aren't on the side of the Australian people right now either, which is a damn shame. We need journalists who are prepared to just simply report the truth, report in facts, and provide a range of opinions. And not just those that they're trying to push in terms of a narrative that they want to push themselves. So I'd like to say thank you for listening, and wherever you are, take care, and I will also take care as well. And thank you. I just want to thank everybody for those of you, many Australians out there, who have provided your love and support and condolences during what's been a very difficult time. Really appreciate it. And back at you, Senator Mullenderi McCarthy. The Northern Territory is watching. That's right. And so is the rest of the country. They're all watching. They're watching you and they're watching the government. That is me, and shall see you soon.